You will show up here. Come on. Come on. Okay, we are live on Facebook, and I don't see us on YouTubular. Where are you? Where are you? There we are. Okay, I'll open that one up. All right, we're live. We're live. We're live. We're live. Good afternoon, guys. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Nobody's in yet. Okay. One person is in Facebook. Okay. This is so weird. This Uber technology thing. It's like, okay, I got my phones. I can see who's where. Welcome everybody for whoever's coming in. Hey David, how are you doing? All right. Okay, what I'm going to do is change my mic settings and play some music while we're waiting for people to come in. So that would mean going here and going here and going there and doing that. Okay. And doing this. So I have a UFO. For any of you old enough, to remember the Jetsons cartoon show, this is exactly what the starship used to look like. And back in the early days, the company named these Lotus drums, and now they call them UFO drums. So, little fairy drums. Can you hear that, Malinda? Good. So, okay, I've got 4 in here. I'm going to do a little bit of heart math. So that is recorded on this for future reference. All right, my heater just started. You're going to hear the whistling. We're going to add a whistle to the bowls. So for heart math, I'm playing a head and a heart bowl. So we're going to start hand on the heart chakra, heart center, eyes gently closed. Just take 3 deep breaths to get down into your body. And if you have to, spread your wings back so you can get air in there. And breathe. So in your heart imagination, find that sacred space of gratitude and breathe into that. And that just expands your heart frequency even more. And then take your breath and the gratitude and travel up to your head, so your heart is calling to your head. Come play with me. And as both head and heart come into harmony, breathe that frequency throughout your body. And whatever is extra, breathe it out into the quantum field so that we can offer something harmonious back out to the world. And then anchor back in your heart. A few more breaths. And I'm going to change the setting of sound so we do not echo. Okay. Ah! So Malinda can unmute herself. Beautiful.
Hi, Jodi.
Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Virginia, thank you for joining us. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas to you, too. My God, yes, we're going into 2022. I have a credit card that's expiring, and I'm like, well, I thought it was next year. And I'm going, oh, yeah, next year is 2022. Like, I'm getting confused. So, I have a neighbor joining me today. One of the sacred women that live in this gigantic ranch community, as I call it, around the corner on the other side of the lake. I actually watched a storm the other night and saw a bolt of lightning come down right where your house was. I was like,
Wow.
oh my God.
Nothing like a lot of energy.
Yeah, it was really big.
It was, yeah, it was quite something.
It was quite something. So Malinda was one of the, hey, Carly, Las Vegas. I'm going to play your gold drum a little later. Melinda was one of the first people I met up here, actually. And wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think it was Linda, our astrologer, referred me to you, and because of you, I've met a whole bunch of other people. There's a lot of really fascinating sacred women hiding out in these trees.
It's true. Yeah, there are.
There are, and you are one of them that I have thoroughly enjoyed.
Thank you.
So, if you want to take just a few minutes to introduce yourself.
Okay, sure.
Who are you?
I'm Malinda Zarate. I actually have been kind of an online presence now since 2012. I have a community and a platform called Emboldened Heart, which is focused on heart-based living and personal transformation. And my mission is to encourage everyone in the world to step into that as well. So I do a little bit of everything. I'm really eclectic. I also have a podcast that I host, and I host a large meetup group here locally. I also am a health and wellness coach, an energy practitioner, and a dance fitness instructor. And in addition to that, I also, because my background was very steep in all things real estate, particularly resort properties and hotels. I'm in the process right now of bringing a beautiful passion project into reality, a small boutique hotel and residence club and a full service spa here locally. Yay! I know. I'm so excited. I've been working on it for about 1.5 years, and it's just, it's really come together with a lot of grace and goodness. So I know it's right because of that. I haven't had to effort through lots of, confusing obstacles. So yeah. So I have lots of fun things happening.
Yeah. So are we allowed to say the name of the spa and hotel?
Yeah, absolutely. It's called the Cristal, which is Spanish for crystal.
Uh-huh.
And the reason that it has that name is because this area is the home of one of the 2 largest quartz crystal veins on the planet. 70 miles long. I think it's 2.6 miles wide. And it's super fun to live here because when it rains, the crystals just pop up out of the ground.
Yeah, they do. I've seen that.
Mm-hmm.
And for any of you who listened to the broadcast I did with Kristen, Malinda was the one that first took me to the lake that I met Kristen in. And she was saying that most of that lake, which all these lakes are man-made, most of that lake is over a big chunk of the vein of quartz, just to keep it safe.
Yeah,
Keep it blessed with water, which is really cool.
it is. It's really one of the most amazing lakes I've ever been in. I mean, and I've traveled a lot and I've been in lots of beautiful lakes, but there's just something about that one, that quartz crystal bottom. It gives it a whole different energy and feeling.
It feels silky.
Yeah, it does.
There's a silkiness to it.
Absolutely.
Which
Yeah.
is wonderful.
It's so soothing. It's the most soothing water. It just feels like just satin when you get in it. It's remarkable. Yeah.
Yes. And living on this one, I mean, there's that kind of energy out in the sunroom, in the meditation room,
Okay.
it doesn't feel the same way, but it's similar because there's so much quartz around here too.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of quartz in all of the lakes here in the village.
Yeah.
And there are 11 of them, believe it or not. But yeah, the shorelines, there are always crystals that have just sort of made their way to the edge.
Yeah.
Making their presence known.
I love it.
Fun. Yeah.
Yes, for those of us who like to play with crystals.
It's so funny. I've been here for 6.5 years now, and I love living here. Moved here from Austin, and
Texas.
Austin, Texas, right? And when I decided to move, I had never been here before.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea really what it was like, other than it was mountains. There was, fresh air, clean water, all those nice things we love. But it was interesting because it was almost like I was compelled to move here. I was called here.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never been one to, spend lots of time working with crystals. I have tons of them. I love them. I've had many of them for years, but I can't remember what they do or what this one's for. I'm always having to go look it up. But when I came here and bought the house that I now own, the yard was just full of quartz crystal. I mean, they're everywhere. And I just felt like, oh my gosh, I was called here by the quartz crystal. Wow.
Yep.
So now they're my friends, they're my friends. And I realize what gifts they bestow.
Yeah, I lived on a mountain in Southern California that was granite, which has a lot of quartz crystal in it. And this area has a purer form of crystal, more the absolute quartz crystal. And I remember a really good friend of mine on the mountain a couple of years into the 10 years I was there, saying that people would move to a place like that mountain, which was similar to this area. Actually, this area reminds me of Idlewild.
Yeah.
And they would think that because it was beautiful and on a mountain and in the country, and just nature, that all problems would be solved. And what he said was all issues, everything we would come to the mountain with would be enhanced because of the quartz, because of the crystals. And the same thing is true here.
Oh, yeah.
It just gets bigger. It's in your face. If you think you're going to come here and not do your shadow work, wrong. So.
Exactly. I actually, about 7 months into living here, I had a huge upheaval and went through about a 3 to 4 month dark night of the soul. And it was just, I mean, it was one of those periods where I didn't even quite recognize myself, you know? But now looking back, I know, I see it's like, wow, that needed to be dealt with. It just needed to be dealt with. So, yeah.
And this is my first year here, and I've been going through the same thing. You know, it's like, heal it now, get through it now, because this is where I choose to be. And having shadows triggered every 5 minutes because I've got a lot of quartz around me, you know, it's like, let's just get it done with now. Yeah, I recognize that.
I kind of, you know, being ever, hope springs eternal, being forever optimistic. I kind of like the idea that the crystal grid has been activated, and that, you know, it's kind of, I feel like it's kind of blowing out all of that old, dark, heavy, dense garbage that we, you know, we've been dragging around or inherited or agreed to, you know, all that. It feels kind of like there is sort of a blowout occurring.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. I mean, go ahead.
It's time. Let's get that done. Let's get that all done. We have other things to do. Many more incredible, important, fun, and unknown things to do. Yeah.
So you're moving here and you do healing work. So I want to talk about that. And then the crystal is the passion work. Well, it's still healing work. I mean, it's still offering a sacred space for transformation, which you offer as well. So which would you like to talk about first? Tell us more about yourself.
Oh, wow. Gosh, you know, it's all so connected, and I just see that so clearly now. I mean, since I was just a kid, I've been a seeker, and, you know, just devoured books and love learning and very curious and all of that. You know, I always wanted to do it all. And it's been real interesting this last 2-year period, or 22 months. It's been so interesting because a lot of the things that I took on previously that I thought were, you know, mine to do, or what I wanted to do, or what I was supposed to do, or, you know, all that stuff that rattles around in your head. It's all kind of, it's sort of receded from my field a little bit. And the things that I'm doing now, I still do some private sessions. They're very different. They've changed a lot. I still teach a very sacred and spiritual form of dance fitness, and it's body, mind, spirit. It's super fun, and never the same twice. And those are the things that I'm doing on an ongoing basis. I haven't been doing a lot of podcasts. I did one. I interviewed our wonderful local kirtan guru, Brian Keith Briangeli, and that was awesome. He's so delightful. But I've moved a little bit away from doing a lot of interviews and podcasts. And I have really it's kind of been full-time working on this project last year. So that's kind of what I'm being guided to just focus on right now, is just, and it's a passion project, but it's also a service project
Mm-hmm.
because it's much needed here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
On many levels.
Yeah.
But there's also a great desire for a place that people can gather
Yes.
and experience the amazing beauty here in nature, to commune with each other, about these topics, these
Mm-hmm.
health, wellness, fitness, spirituality, consciousness, expansion, all of those
Mm-hmm.
topics that are just, they're what this is all about.
Yeah.
So so it does feel like this is where my time is to be devoted now. And I also know myself well enough to know that there's always a new project that shows up for me, at least one.
Yeah.
Yeah, as there is with you as well, Jodi. I mean, my gosh, you've got all kinds of things going too.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And change. I remember one of the groups that I run. I run a lot of shamanic journey groups, and one of them we were journeying on what our superpowers are.
Cool.
And my superpower is change. It was
Good for you.
like, okay, resistance is futile. Everything's going to change.
I know we can fight it, and we can try to fight it, and it's a whole lot harder.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. We're in the holiday season. I mean, we're headed right into the solstice in 2 days. Big time, a lot happening. And then the whole Christmas thing, which is, it's an ancient piece that we all have in us, that we all also have been bombarded with nonsense messaging and marketing and media crap, for our entire lives. And so I haven't seen either of my sons for 2 years. And so they're coming for Christmas. And so I'm super excited to see them. That's the best gift right now that I could possibly imagine. But it's so interesting to kind of sort of have the little things beginning to show up that are like, oh, there's this thing that's a problem, and this could be a problem. And, it's all very interesting.
Where do they live? Where are they coming in from?
My oldest and my granddaughter, they live in New York City.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, very different environment right now than Arkansas, rural Arkansas.
Wow.
And they're coming with their, they're coming with their desire to have a break. But they're also coming with all of their travel concerns, of course. And, New York is pretty intense.
Yeah.
Under the best of circumstances, it's pretty intense. But right now, it's just like, whoa. So there's that. And then my youngest is coming from Texas, from near the Austin area. So he and his wife will be coming. So it's going to be interesting. They are staying at an Airbnb rather than.
That was my next question. Your spa and restaurant, your spa and hotel thing isn't open yet, so.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, and that's a huge problem here. When people have friends and family, it's like your options are stay with the person you're visiting, or find
an Airbnb.
An Airbnb. And so it is kind of interesting. Yeah, but we all feel real good about the fact that we're not going to all be under the same roof for 5 days.
Yeah.
Everyone needs their space, especially right now.
Definitely. Oh, how exciting, though.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I've kind of been like a crazy machine, flying around, doing and preparing and cleaning. And, it's just like today I looked around, it was like, okay, you're done. You just done. It's got to stop.
Yeah, my way of doing Christmas is gathering the people that aren't spending time with family,
Yeah,
and
lovely.
we've been having a run of what movies are we watching on the holidays. So the first holiday was my birthday on 11/11, and then there was Thanksgiving, and now there's Christmas. So we're going through all of these movies that we can watch as shamanic spiritual interpretations of
Ooh,
realities.
I'd love to hear the list.
Well, we watched all three Matrix, some movie that had the title Guy in it, and then we're watching Avatar.
Okay.
And I have done this my entire adult life. I have watched movies to find the mythology, the disclosure, the messages behind the glitz, of Hollywood, and just find where the truth vein is in these movies. And it's fun. It's
Yeah.
really fun.
And it is so interesting. I often think of, that many people are saying this, and they have said it for a long time, that the truth is hidden in plain sight.
Oh yeah.
And if there's any industry that has been sort of spoon feeding it, or at least their interpretation of it, it is the movie industry. Wow.
Yes. Yes. I agree.
Hmm.
Welcome, Adrian. It's good to see you. And I can't wait to go look at the video that you and Johnny and Tony did earlier today. I've been working all day. I'm I'm grateful that they didn't reschedule the Christmas boat parade for tonight. But if they had, I was going to call you up and get you over here, and then we would like have the camera pointing out off
Oh,
the
fun, fun. So did they do it, or did they reschedule?
No, they canceled last night because of wind.
Ah,
And hi, Sandy. And they didn't, and basically what the woman said was, "Don't take your lights off your boat. We may get it in this week." And it's too windy today. They didn't want to do it because of wind.
oh well, maybe it'll happen.
Maybe it'll happen.
Oh,
This lake is a trip with their boat
yeah.
celebrations. The Easter one, somebody had the life size stuffed bunny rabbit, tied to the front of their pontoon.
So fun. And
It's, it's so different.
they used to do, I don't know if they've done it this year, but they used to do a group of the musicians here would gather on one of the pontoon boats on Lake Cortez, and they would do a floating concert, and they would go around to all the different coves.
My God.
French horn player, clarinet. It was
Ooh.
fabulous. And then, of course, everyone who had their kayak would get
Yeah.
in and follow them the
Yeah,
whole time.
the
So
whole time. Yeah.
you
Oh,
could
how
hear
fun.
everything. Yeah, I hope they do that again. It's just magical, really.
Sounds like fun.
It's
Yeah,
so
it's funny because my gong partner down in Texas, his idea was we're going to drag gongs out on the dock and do gong baths,
cool.
out
I
into the lake. And I'm like,
love that idea.
that's not normal music, but that would be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. Yeah. It's fun to hear that kind of music from underwater too.
Yeah,
I don't remember which event it was. There have been so many like eclipses and celestial alignments and everything
mhm,
since I've lived here, but there was one period at which I was out on Lake Washita
mhm,
with a friend Star,
mhm, mhm.
and she played Tom Kenyon's, I think, The Resurrection.
Ooh,
She played it, and
ooh,
and we kind of went underwater, and we could feel the vibration of it.
yes,
It
yeah.
was amazing. It was so awesome. Yeah.
Wow. Oh, that sounds beautiful.
Yeah. So your gong work, imbuing it into the waters. Love that.
I mean, it's going in the water anyway, but to actually
Absolutely.
get a few of them down there on the dock and be
Yeah.
up close and personal with the water beings. That'd be fun.
Uh-huh.
We'll have to work on that next summer.
Let me know when that's going to be happening.
I will.
I'll be there.
Well, the kayaks lined up out there.
Yeah, you bet.
Oh my goodness, that would be a blast.
Good.
It's been interesting in this house because I'm rearranging and redoing everything in here.
Mhm.
Moved the healing room upstairs, so there's no stairs involved for anybody. And my gong chamber, which is where I've done broadcasts from, the gongs are like, okay, it's time for us to be doing gong baths again. You got to get all this stuff out of the middle of it because we're going to work. Now we're going to work. I'm like,
They're ready.
they're ready. Yeah, they're ready. So the you know Nia and Bruce, right?
Yeah,
They were
sure.
at the concert that I did a couple weeks Saturdays ago, and we all trooped downstairs at the end of it to logisticize on how we were going to rearrange that room to fit at least 5 or 6 people in there for a gong band.
Nice.
That was fun. It was
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Cool. I just love your purple lights.
Like my purple Christmas tree.
You know, it is beautiful.
This is a Home Depot Halloween tree.
Oh, well, it certainly
So
works well for Christmas.
I took all of the skeletons. I took them all out. They're up on the mantle now. I took the skeletons out and put Christmas ornaments in for Christmas.
Instead of having skeletons in out of the closet, they're in the closet.
No, they're actually up on the mantle.
Okay, well, that's fun too.
I put the elf on the shelf in there.
Fun.
Any excuse to do it in a weird way. That's my
Yeah.
idea of fun. And and the color is just so unique. It's such a beautiful twinkle light.
It's that Saint Germain violet flame purple.
Exactly.
Pretty wonderful.
Yeah. So where's my? I forgot to read the quote for today.
Okay.
When I came up with the name of Alchemical Wisdom for this hour that I do, I Googled it to see if anybody had been using it and found the book. And he has written this book with series of little quotes on every page. And the people who I'm working with and interviewing who have actually purchased the book will text me ahead of time going, I want you to read this one. Because I had that happen a few times. And other than that, I just open it somewhere and see what's in there. So I like this one. We would not be creative if our only purpose in life is to be what we already are. Speaking of change, we would not be creative if our only purpose in life is to be what we already are. So, you had mentioned a few minutes ago that you always have some kind of sacred project.
Mhm.
So, what's your relationship with creativity?
Oh, that's such a good question. And I'm not sure I can answer it easily, clearly. But what I can certainly say is that my relationship with creativity has grown pretty exponentially
Mhm.
um, over over the last 10 or 12 years, but certainly since I've moved here.
Yeah.
And I think I also am just really, really aware now that I am so incredibly creative, even though I was never really given much acknowledgement for
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I didn't feel like I was necessarily creative. I had friends that were artists and
Yeah. Yeah.
musicians and things, and they seemed, it's like, oh, that's so cool. I wish I was creative like that. And it's like,
Mhm.
well, I am creative. I'm just not creative like that.
Like that. Yeah. Yeah.
And once a person recognizes that and just accepts it,
Yeah.
it so changes things. It's so freeing, and it sort of gets you off the hook too.
Mm-hmm.
You can stop trying to figure out what it is
Mm-hmm.
that you're
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be and do
Mm-hmm.
and create, because then it just spontaneously begins to come through.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is really interesting how I totally get that I'm incredibly creative now,
Mhm.
which was not at all the case earlier
Mhm.
in my life.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah,
So,
same with me. So I didn't. My mother was the designated artist, and none of the rest of us were allowed to come anywhere close to that.
mhm.
And what I've learned over the years, and Artist Way was my doorway in, but what I've learned is creating a life and then embracing the change to create. It's always a spiral for me to create different spirals of experiences in life
Mhm.
and be willing to change it,
Right.
you know, be willing to change it. And when I started the exploration through the artist way of my creativity, I mean, I seriously, it was like, I don't have any art, I don't have any creativity. I mean, that was my belief.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I interviewed Carla Pineda a few weeks ago, and she was the one that invited me into a really cool bookstore, independent bookstore in San Antonio, to do something so that my energy could come in and help, do energy work in there. And what we decided was I would teach the artist's way, and it was the first time in probably 12, 13 years that I had taught it. And when I walked in for the first class, I walked in with 5 or 6 or 7 CDs I had recorded, because
Yeah.
I've done this music for 18 years.
Sure.
And I held them up and I said, first time I did Artist Way, I swore I did not have any creativity in my body at all. And look at what came through.
Mhm.
And the key for me is the creativity is about coming through me.
Yes.
Not me figuring out what I want to do for art, but
Yeah.
just coming through me. And I'm watching you do that with the crystal, with the spa. It's just that it's coming through you. And I remember the first time we talked about it, you were driving me back from the lake, just this beautiful birthing energy of
Mhm.
sacredness in the woods here.
Yeah. I'm so grateful. It's just
Hmm.
so it's so wonderful, And I have spent, oh my gosh, so many years like efforting around
Hmm.
anything along
Hmm.
those lines.
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
just ridiculous the way I would effort around, in every direction. So this has been such a blessing for me. And also, it's just been like this aha kind of gift that, you know, there used to be sort of a place in me. It was just like, who am I? Who am I to do something like this? I mean, who
Hmm.
am I? And then with this one, it was just like, wait a minute. I kind of trained for this for years and years.
Yeah.
I learned the business. I learned all the different aspects of the business.
Hmm.
Okay, I'm doing this.
Hmm. Hmm.
It just really did kind of all come together in the most divinely orchestrated way. The right people have shown up,
Hmm.
expert team, which I mean, I don't, I don't have the desire or the expertise to try and pull this all off, from start to finish. I
Hmm.
totally need a wonderful team, and they've just shown up, and it's been so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I offered a healing session on my vibroacoustic table as a gift in your, I don't know,
Yeah.
what do you call what you just did, your
Oh, it was kind
introduction,
of an unveiling.
the
Yeah.
unveiling. And the woman that won, I mean, she's coming back on Friday for another session, and I'm like, okay, Lake TV is calling, so stay for tea. And she thought I meant I had to go to Lake TV after getting off the text. I said, no, no, no. The lake is calling for both of us to be in that sunroom for some reason, and I don't know what it is yet, but we'll find out.
Nice.
You've got some cool people on that team.
Yeah. It's pretty fun.
It is really fun.
Yeah.
So I have more questions.
Okay. And I know the light is changing because it was completely daylight when I first started, so I may step over and turn on a light at some point.
I finally brought the ring light up here because I'm like in the darkness by the time we're done. So when you, Malinda, quietly meditate and go into that sacred heart space
Mhm.
and access that wisdom, what does it show you about the reason you came to the planet at this time?
Hmm. Wow. What's been really coming through for me just lately is this just a beautiful understanding that I don't need to know why I'm here or what I'm supposed to be doing. I don't need to um, know my mission and purpose and all that stuff that our mental mind gets all wrapped up in. That I'm here just to be. I'm here to be me. Just
Mhm.
here to be me,
Mhm.
and to just show up as me,
Mhm.
which just is so much easier. So much easier. Oh my God.
So when you're being you,
Mhm.
what vibrational frequency are you holding?
I think it's love. It's just love. It's appreciation. It's acceptance. It has it. There's no mental component,
Mhm.
it,
Mhm. Yeah.
which is interesting because it took me many years to get to the point where there wasn't a mental component that would show up.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I think it really is. It's that expansion energy, that oneness energy that we're all really, really beginning to palpably
Mhm.
experience. I mean, we
Mhm.
had it in our head and it sounded beautiful and really good, and we all wanted it. But I think we've been given an opportunity to really to sort of bask in it
Mhm.
in a different way than any of us would have expected. It's like, who would have thought?
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's what is more than anything is just that connection,
Mhm. Mhm.
sense of really being connected with everything else.
Mhm. Yeah. Which is easy up here.
Hmm. Oh yeah, you look out and there's these fabulous trees and nature and animals, and
Mhm.
it is so easy to
Mhm. Mhm.
just see it, feel it, sense it,
Yeah. Yeah.
hear it. You hear the birds chirping and you hear the sound of the wind moving through the pine trees. I mean, it's just glorious, really. And
Yes.
not everybody has this.
Well, my intention I knew going back to Texas would be time sensitive when the assignment was done. Then I would get to go somewhere I wanted to go. And I had only been to Arkansas once prior to finding this house
Um,
online. And it was the crystal mine, and it was like 35 years ago, and I had no idea where the crystal mine was. I stayed in the middle of Hot Springs, and I think it was the mine that's up the street from us,
yeah,
actually. I
yeah.
drove forever to get to it, and
Coleman. Mhm.
and it was just so funny when a friend of mine, Lawrence, looked at me and said, "You need to go back to the trees, like
Mhm.
now."
Yeah.
And he had just been in Mount Ida. So that's what even pointed the pointer at Arkansas, because I was looking, I was looking at all kinds of places that I had friends or families. I've lived in many places. And this was the first one that said yes. There's a light being turned on. So this was the first one that said yes. And The first time I came to the village, it was to look at this house.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm driving the streets with minimal street lights. They're really cute, actually.
Mhm.
And windy, skinny roads in
Yeah.
trees. And I'm like having flashbacks to living in Idlewild, California. It was bizarre. It's just like, wow, I'm in the same place. And and this feels like home
Yes. I
in a
know.
really interesting way. It just and I'm not talking the structures and the buildings. I'm talking the nature.
Yeah.
And I when I lived in Virginia, as one of the times, I was born in Virginia, but then we moved. My dad was military. We moved back, and I spent all of my time in an old growth forest that was right behind the house
Oh,
by myself. I was down there all the time, you know. And when I really thought about it as an adult, I'm like, how did I not get eaten by a bobcat or a bear or something in these woods? But
yeah.
for me, it's always been the relationship with nature of,
Mhm.
hi, you're the teacher, I'm the guest, you're part of my relations. Teach me, show
Yes.
me.
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
this place has that same feel.
It really does. It really does. It's just, I just have not really ever lived any place where I mean, I'm just so happy to just be at home. So happy to be at home. I don't have to leave. All I have to do is look out the window. It makes me smile. It's just,
Yeah,
I mean,
I
it's
know.
wonderful. And I mean, I've lived in some lovely places,
Yeah,
but
Austin's
it's
pretty.
just, yeah, very pretty. But it's so different. It's so
Yeah,
different. Uh,
it's so peaceful.
yeah,
And the beauty for me is whether I'm out front in the trees or out back, you know, looking at the lake, the beauty is DNA changing for
oh,
me. It rewires the entire beingness of who and what I am, even in the dark night of the soul that the move brought. You know, when I first got here, I'd be sitting looking out the window, going, "Okay, that's the most extreme beauty I've ever seen, and I feel like I'm going to die." And then both of those, you know, like holding that paradox at the same
yeah,
time, and just going, "Okay, it's a yes and." You know, it's a
right.
sacred paradox.
You just brought something up that I'd love to just maybe just talk about a bit.
Hmm.
I have two or three times recently, I've had someone say something or I've read something that has to do with the death urge,
Hmm.
which I
Hmm.
know it's a spiritual principle. It's an ancient understanding,
Hmm. Hmm.
all of that. And I think that I think that part of what's going on for all of us with this whole whatever it
Hmm.
is giving us an opportunity to face our own death urge.
Hmm. Hmm.
You know, so it feels like um, for me, it kind of feels like the air has kind of come out of it for me.
Hmm.
That that fearful freak out kind of thing. The air has just sort of dissipated. It's flat now. It's not there,
Hmm.
which I think it's a huge gift for everyone to get to a place where they just sort of just recognize that it's just something that we experience. I think as human beings, but that it doesn't have to drive the bus all the time.
The fear of death.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I've seen that. Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, I had near deaths and dead and come back, and a lot of that in this lifetime, and it brings peace and acceptance in
Yeah.
my own life because I'm not fearing it, and in supporting people who are suicidal because I'm not judging it.
Mhm.
You know, it's just,
Right.
I can listen, I can hear with my heart in a different way because the world is very real on the other side of the veil,
Yeah. Yeah.
and easier in some way. We actually talked about suicide last interview I did, and it's yeah, sitting in beauty
Mhm.
in a ritual death. I mean, I'm Scorpio, I'm Pluto. It's like ritual death is normal, but having that experience here throughout this last year, I've had people just text me and go, "How can you be posting such beautiful pictures and going through what you're going through?" And
Mhm.
I'm like, "Why would I stop?"
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mother Nature is beautiful regardless of what I'm going through, and my whole frequency in my beingness is beauty, is honoring beauty. So why would I stop posting the pictures?
Exactly. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, one of the jokes I made to somebody was, okay, when you actually do find me dead one day, pry
Mhm.
the phone out of my hand and see what beauty I was taking a picture of at that point in
I like
time.
that.
It'll
Yeah.
be there.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Encouragement.
The other thing that I'm just hearing so much about, which is pretty fun, is just the upcoming disclosure that will be, the contact. So it's like, okay, come on, let's
Oh,
go.
good.
Let's
I
do
know.
this.
I'm always comparing notes on the lake to a ship captain friend of mine in the Gulf. Like, have you seen any ships yet? Not yet, but yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
right.
I definitely have friends who have lived here for a long time they've seen
Yeah,
many ships,
yeah,
many
yeah.
ships.
I've
Yeah.
seen him behind clouds here. Yeah, I have too
Uh-huh.
already. I actually have,
It's
which is
pretty
fun.
fun. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's the perfect place in the middle of 26,000 acres in the woods to see them.
Well, and with the huge quartz crystal thing here, I mean, kind of
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, that's what, you know, it was so funny because when I started collecting crystals, it's like, this is how we used to power the ships. I mean, I remember these, you know, they
Yeah,
all have frequency, and then add a little bit of sound to it, and you know, you've got the magic.
yeah, absolutely.
So I am going to, okay, I've gotten sophisticated, and I brought the second camera upstairs finally. I'm going to switch the camera and switch the sound and go play a few thingies over there.
Okay.
And then I will re-adjourn over here. Okay, hang on. I'm going to change a whole bunch of stuff here. We're going to go audio, time to echo, camera. Oh, there's not enough light over there. That's funny. I'm going to be in shadow over there playing. It was really light over there when I started today. You can see my giant white head and heart balls. Okay, well, it's not the visual, it's the sound. So we started with heart math, and we'll end with heart math. So here's your heart breath. And your head breath.
That was just lovely. Thank
That was
you.
fun. Okay, so next time I need the second ring light up here aimed at that stuff. I'm doing all the sound checks and the camera checks when it's bright out.
I know. Oh well, it is what it is.
Oh well. What we get, for being in home, whatever we're doing.
That's right.
Kathy and Eliza, welcome, welcome. As we're just about to end. So, do you have anything coming up that you would like to talk about? Marketing for anything that you're doing, any events?
I would just,
Online, probably.
yeah, I'd like to invite anyone listening to just go to my website, emboldenedheart.com, and sign up to get on my newsletter list. I do lots of fun things, and I share a lot of information. I share a lot of work from people that I know, love, admire, and enjoy. And so it isn't just podcasts that I do. I share all kinds of different things. So please do just sign up, and you'll get some fun goodies that show up in your inbox.
Yes, they are fun. That and the meetup group is fun too.
Yeah.
For the local thing.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's see, what do I have going? Tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., Jen Lynn and I will be doing our Sacred Sounds of Coffee with big cups of coffee. Yay. And we are talking about, in honor of the holiday, giving and receiving. More spiritual aspects of that. I am doing one of my paid events on Tuesday on winter solstice. You have to do coffee maker. Good. That's Tuesday, 7 o'clock Central Time. And if you're interested, I think there's a link on my community page where you can pay for that. And we are having one of these Alchemical Wisdom fun things the day after Christmas. One of my really good friends, Mark Lopolo, is joining me, and I'm going to see if I can get him to play his cave gong and get one of mine up here for that, because we buy gongs together. We get into trouble together. It's cheaper if we ship them together.
Sure. Sounds like great fun.
Great logic, right? So Mark will be here next week, and I think that's all. And I just want to thank you. It's really fun having my neighbors on here.
Thank you. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was delightful to be invited to a play date with you, as always.
Exactly. This is fun.
Yeah.
So all of you on Facebook and YouTube, if you are so inclined, please like my channel or follow it or whatever you do on either one of these platforms. And I very much appreciate all of you that are here and whoever is listening to it later. And Merry Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever way you celebrate, just may it be peaceful and easy and graceful. And for those of us who deal with sadness at this time of the year, may you be at peace with that too. That's always welcome here anyway. So thank you.
Thanks, Jodi. And have a blessed solstice, everyone.
Oh yeah, that got to start there.